Great. I'll start with the first speaker. If Captain Kirk from Star Trek, Cooper from Interstellar, and Dr. Ryan Stone from Gravity ever needed a mission commander, somebody who could navigate cosmic challenges, defy gravity, and land history-leading space probes with Indian jugaad, there's only one man they would turn to. With almost 4 decades of experience, he has been the captain of India's real-life Starship Enterprise, steering our country to uncharted cosmic frontiers. And whilst Hollywood spends about $100 million to make movies like Gravity, this man has sent an actual spacecraft to the moon for less than $75 million. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it gives me a lot of privilege and great pleasure to be able to tell you that with us is the former chairperson of ISRO, Dr. S. Somanath. It's an interesting story how we first met, how I first met Sir. And I asked him, he came and he said, Rishabh, it's nice to meet you again. I said, Sir, do you remember? So then he said, yes, I do. And from the millions of people that you meet, I'm glad that you remember. Perhaps it was my hairstyle or the outfit was giving. But sir, thank you so much for doing this and thank you for being here. Let me first start by asking you this. How does it feel to be back to school? There are so many students out here who are from school. How does it feel to be back to school?
I've been always in school. Being a student throughout.
Okay.
Even after I got job at ISRO, I've been reading, studying things, upskilling myself all throughout the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I really realized that what you learned in schools and colleges don't make you to do things really at office. Doing rocket business required skills and knowledge which far beyond what you are taught. So I have been a student throughout. So and even now I am.
And you were the student of the year, no sir? You used to always finish first in class, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I was, yeah. yes, I was, yeah.
Very humbly said yes. Yes, Rishabh. Yes, but no, sir, let me start by asking you this question. In school there are certain times, and whilst you are leading ISRO, I'm sure there were certain times, where every second matters. In school, when the exam clock, the time is running out, and when we are filling the last answer quickly, I want to make sure that we fill the answer and then we submit the sheet, and there's no ChatGPT to help us. At that juncture, sir, every second matters. Similarly, when it comes to leadership and leadership in ISRO, every second matters. But there's a lot of tension also. Like when you're writing that final thing on the paper and the time is running out and you're getting so tense, the same way I'm sure there must be a lot of tension. So when it comes to leadership, sir, how do you deal with stress?
Stress is an integral part of all of this. No, anything that you want to do, really want to achieve, has a timeline, cost, and schedule in front of you. Stress comes naturally. There is no escape. Only thing that you need to train yourself to handle it. First and foremost, to overcome stress, the first quality that you need to have is certain amount of knowledge. Okay, that the things that you are dealing with are not strange. For people who are not knowing rockets, for them it could be more stressful than people who know the rocket, I believe.
Correct.
Because we know what way it can go wrong. We really understand. And we are prepared for it. So in the business of work which I am there are leadership required not just on the day of the launch. It's needed years ahead of it, much prior to it. That we've been preparing this and creating the designs and manufacturing it and testing it and coming up to that level required. Interacting with thousands of people across the country, really. Institutions, industries, internal people. So every time that you feel technical issues cropping up, there is no solution available in front of you and the time is running out, you get stressed. But then the only way to handle it is through your own training, your own personal growth, your own ability to handle this. It matters. So
So what is your mantra? Is there a mantra to handle stress?
There is nothing. There is no single mantra.
Okay.
There is no single mantra. I tell you, there are many ways that you can do. The first and foremost is to train yourself in terms of knowledge. I said knowledge is very, very important to handle stress in any domain that you are dealing with. The second, of course, is a way to understand the connect between human nature and the spiritual nature. You know, it helps you. I strongly depend on it quite a bit. The spiritual doesn't really mean religious, no. It is to look at in a manner that the whole cosmos connect yourself to it and then understand that even if you put all that effort, then ultimate results are as a blessing come from somewhere else. And once you understand that, your tension goes away. And the only thing that you can do at this moment is enjoy it, put your best effort, and then leave it the rest to the what you call the so-called destiny. No.
Destiny.
So
it's very nice that you are talking about destiny and so-called religion and spirituality and things like that, because sometimes science and spirituality don't go hand in hand. And you are somebody who, I believe, if I'm not wrong, believes strongly in God. Before the rockets are launched, we've seen images of you visiting temples. So
no, they are different things. I think that's not for the rocket or for getting blessing or anything. And what you said, I am a believer of God. They are not the right representation of what I talk about the spirituality. Of course, I am searching God. I am not believing God. I want to make it very clear to you, because I have not seen God yet. Okay, so I am not a believer of God, but I am a seeker of God. So rather more of spirituality is in a different measure than
religion.
Yeah, than the religion for me. Of course, I have the religious training, which is an inherent part of our social upbringing.
Correct.
But I would like to search far beyond what has been provided in those. So that
is it correct to say, like how Gandhiji said in his book Experiments with Truth, he said, where there is God, there is no truth, and where there is truth, there is no God?
I don't know. Really. So many times I tend to tell I do not know many things, because what I do not know, that I can at least try to learn. So that way I am very happy about that part. But with respect to spirituality, there are many things that we need to talk, but then at this moment I don't want to venture into that part.
Correct.
Because we are discussing something else which is more important than that, I believe.
No, it's very interesting that you mentioned spirituality and not religion, and you explained the difference between religion and spirituality in that sense, and therefore I wanted to ask you this question. Yeah. The other question, which is very pressing, because I read some news, and like sir said, knowledge is the crux of everything. So when I was preparing for these interviews and these conversations, I was reading a little bit. My grandfather said a conversation with a knowledgeable person, sir, is better than reading 100 books. But then he clarified. He said, Rishabh, first read 100 books and then have the conversation. Otherwise, nobody will have the conversation with you. So when I was reading, I came across something which is very interesting, which was something, when I was a child also, the first thought, when you speak about the space and the cosmos, even now, just recently, in the recent past, there is a sign of a planet, if I'm not wrong, that has just come up, which is K8B12 or something, B18, something like that. B12 is the medicine I have. But something of that sort.
It's not a medicine, it's a vitamin.
Oh, it's a vitamin. It's a problem. This is medicine I didn't study. Problem with intelligent people when we are in conversation. But sir, my question is this. Is there life beyond us, besides us on this planet? Is there possibility of life beyond?
There is no doubt about it. I think those who are doubting it is only, I must make it very clear that we are not here by chance. No, we means human beings or all the life forms that you see here on earth. I think you must realize that it happened here, not once, it happened here multiple times. So the life can occur anywhere in the universe, and it is so vast, and we have no idea what the vastness means. And in this Milky Way galaxy, the Earth itself is a remotest dust in the whole of the Milky Way galaxy, and there is life there. And there are millions and billions of such planets across the vast universe. Even in this Milky Way galaxy, there must be at least a few million. And many of them will definitely have situations and conditions that are amenable for life to form. And life will form. Whenever there is an opportunity for life to form, it will be formed, no doubt about it. So I am very sure about it. Intelligent life could be existing not in one, two, but in again in millions of places. I am very sure about it. The only question is whether we will ever know about it, whether we will ever come in contact with it. I think that is very remote with the time of technology.
Even this is 124 light years away, this discovery that was made.
Yeah.
And therefore, but do you think at some point in time we could possibly have people and communication from here to some other planet? Is there a possibility of that?
If I say there is no possibility, I am a fool. Because anyone who said that there is no possibility for something, the history has proved that it is possible. So that is a wrong statement to make. So I will only make an intelligent statement that it is possible in the future. Huh?
Yes, it is possible in the future.
Yeah.
But even then, like you said, anybody who says that something is impossible, then impossible breaks it up and says, I am possible. So as the cliche goes. But,
yeah, it is true.
But sir, what you mentioned is so true that anything is possible. And in the realm of anything that happens at any point in time, including in our lives, where anything literally happens at any point in time. Another thing that I wanted to ask you is, how, with so many distractions that are there, how do we stay focused? Because there's so much that is happening simultaneously. For us, the distractions are very different from you, sir. For us, there is Instagram Reels. For us, there is also K-pop dramas. For us, there's cinema. And there is school. And there's now the IPL, sir. So, do you follow the IPL?
Yeah.
Do you follow? Great. And which is your favorite team, if I may?
I said follow, but I am not an ardent follower.
Okay.
So I won't get Mumbai Indians, of course.
Mumbai. Sir has given the right answer in the right city. But so many distractions, sir. So many distractions. And, you know, Mumbai Indians start playing well now, so again we have to see all the matches.
Not really, not really. I am not getting enough time to watch.
But sir, how do you focus when there's so much that distracts you?
See, it is all a question of your priorities. The focus is a question of priority. Suppose you don't prioritize what you want to achieve in life, want to do things in life, then of course your focus will drift. It's all in your own hands. Your ability to focus, your ability to do things, your goals, accomplishments are all in your mind and in your hand. When you say in hand means in your making. So you need to make a choice, no? Whether I want to remain focused, I don't want to remain focused. It's a choice. If you want to allow yourself to drift, you allow it. And if you are happy with that drifting, be it like that.
Okay.
So if you want to be focused to get something achieved in life, be on that. So it's a choice that you need to make.
But sir, the choice obviously we want to make, but sometimes it happens that the distraction is so great.
That's because who is distracting? No one is distracting. You yourself is distracting you. And you say someone is distracting me. See, you tell that I am incapable of controlling myself. Then whom you are talking to?
Correct.
See, only if you think that you have the command of yourself.
Correct.
And if you say that I don't have command of myself, what type of pitiable situation that you are?
Correct.
So, and the first thing you must look at yourself. Am I in control of myself? At least. You can't control others. Okay, forget about it. That you are not able to control your parents. You are not able to control your siblings, your teachers. But at least you should be able to control yourself.
Correct. Correct. So it's directing it to me also. It's partially directed to you. I'm just letting you. These questions are for. But no. But they're smarter than me, of course. So they are much more focused. So there is. Do you meditate? I ask you. Do you meditate?
Yes.
Of course. So sir, does meditation play a large part in focusing on things?
See, you can lead a meditating life. You can meditate while I am speaking to you. You can meditate while you are on job. You can meditate while you are reading a book. It's a question of looking at yourself every time. How many of you look at your own breathing? Have you are conscious about your breathing? Sometimes I'll ask you, are you conscious about your thoughts now? What exactly you are thinking at this moment? Anytime look at yourself. I'll tell you the best way to meditate is to get outside your body. No, see yourself coming out, standing in front of you, looking at you and looking at what exactly you are doing right now. Any time have you done?
So I've read and I've tried.
Yeah.
Read and tried.
And that is a great meditation. And the strongest and the best meditation is to observe yourself. And you observe, you will understand what all foolish things are happening inside you. You will realize at that moment. What type of thoughts are going inside you? Where are you diverting yourself from the focused attention that you need in life?
That time sir looked at me.
That means you can meditate throughout your work, throughout your journey, when you are traveling, when you are about to sleep, or you are working, every time you can meditate.
What you just said, sir, is something that Jiddu Krishnamurti also speaks so much about meditation and about this and
Yeah.
So I tried Brahma Muhurat to do little something, then after that I go to sleep because I'm like meditating, nothing is happening, nothing is observing, and fall asleep.
Don't take any effort to meditate. I think that's the whole point.
But sir, when I was a teenager, can I ask you this? Because this is going to go to schools. It's going to 1 lakh schools. All the schools that we work with are going to send this across and say, look, there's content on the internet, but there's content outside the internet also, right? And sir, when it comes to meditation and being a teenager, let me be honest and let me check. How many of us regularly meditate every single day without fail? Correct. So, sir, my thing is when I was in school, even I wouldn't. If somebody told me saying that, Rishabh, at 14, sit for half an hour, 20 minutes and try to observe yourself, why, according to you, is it important in order to meditate? Is it important to meditate whilst you're in school and why so?
No, it is important to meditate and teach students how to, I said, the meditate, the terminology of meditation as different ways people handle. There are sessions of meditation. You have a fixed time, you have a nice room, you sit there, have a nice cool music. You say recite something in a continuous manner, observe some flame or look at some objects. There are many techniques people have brought out and then said, do all of them if you feel that you are comfortable. You can do meditation even without all of them also as well. So I tell you, someone should tell young people how to really concentrate. Meditation and concentration, they are all linked in some way or the other. It is nothing but observing your own thoughts and actions on a continuous basis. I want to make it very, very clear. Meditation is not something that is very, very specific for rishis and yogis and people of that type of life. No, I think nobody should have any misconception of that point. It is for people like us, ordinary people who are day in and day out working and studying and going through middle of the life. All of you can meditate. I think this must be told to everyone. And it is very, very important to understand this and to make a part of your life right from the very young age. Sitting still, enjoying moments of silence, reflecting on what just been heard. After reading a book of paragraph, spending few minutes, few seconds, remembering what has actually been read in that one paragraph, making your own mental picture of what you read and reflecting on your own additional thoughts into that what has been read. Many techniques are there to reflect on developing such skills.
No, I'm so glad that you mentioned this. And I'm asking a scientist all these questions is very important because if a person wearing orange and orange or white and white or green and green comes out here and delivers this talk, it will become very different. But a scientist is saying that it's important to meditate and observe oneself. After all, quantum physics also in a small way teaches you that only this, till you observe it, you don't know whether it is a particle or not.
True, yes.
Beyond that I won't say because then sir will correct me saying.
Yeah.
So I will say only that much. But sir, one big part about I.I.M.U.N, of course, is meditation is an Indian practice in a way.
Yeah.
One big part about I.I.M.U.N is that we try to get Indianness instilled in a way in schools. That to be a little more Indian, to be a little more Bharatiya. So my question is this, that are there any parallels between space exploration and ancient Indian concepts like Brahmananda?
So much really. I think the more you know about it, you will start respecting those thoughts of those old rishis and the previous concepts. How people of that times were able to even dream about multiverse. For example, recently there people are talking about dark energy, dark matter, multiverse. I know you would have heard about all of this. Brahmanda, the scales of times and scales of space, all these were in some way or the other represented or talked about in an ancient literature that we are familiar with. Though the absolute aspects of the scientific findings are not described. Of course, the techniques which are available today to go into the atom, go into the cosmos were not available at that time. But at least in the minds of those people, for example, such long years of time, the universe was created in 13.58 billions of years. The time cycles, so the birth and death, that it is cyclic in nature. I'm talking about our birth and death. No, I'm talking about the universe's birth and death is cyclic in nature. I think whoever have an imagination to even to speak about it, we must salute really. I think the modern science really brings it to fore that type of realities in front of us, that we realize that it could be of that nature.
So do you think, sir, modern science is only catching up to what Indian civilization already knew?
And I won't say all of that. I won't say that we had all answers for all the questions at that time. It's not fair enough to say, admit like that. But I can only get perplexed by the depth of that understanding at that time. I can't say it is complete. It will never be complete. And we will never ever know about the universe in totality at any point in time in the history of our humanity. I am very sure about it. But at least I am very, very proud to say that the people of that time were able to visualize. For example, when I came across one of the Sanskrit work recently, it's called Mahasalila, which was released just few months back. It talks about the primordial soup. Primordial soup is nothing but the initial material existed at the beginning of the creation of the universe. From that everything came. That's what we say. Now it speak about the creation of the universe, it speak about the planetary system, it speak about sun and moon and earth and all that. It's the type of distances and the periodicity. All these are described in beautiful Sanskrit words which existed few thousands of years ago. How come they were able to tell all of this? It came out of observations or came out of thoughts or meditation, I don't know. But it came really, it's available in front of us as real literature. So, but I cannot say that it is complete description of the universe as we know today. We know much more than that, of course we know. But at that moment, without any hardware, without any telescopes or without any time measuring devices, how people were able to conceive that, and it's really wonderful.
Anybody who any which way says that they have complete knowledge about something, then that means it's incomplete in some way, or the person is incomplete in some way. So your first answer also was that you consider yourself yet a student, yet in school, and even this answer tallies to that. And therefore, all scientists are working on experiments, including the experiment with self. So I'm glad that we started today's session with somebody who's a role model who believes in the continuous spirit of inquiry and experimentation. So therefore I must ask you this question, the spirit of inquiry or self-inquiry or experimentation in schools, because we are largely yet an English education system, and because the English education system was slightly different from my myopic understanding of the Gurukul system, do you think that somewhere in schools we can further foster the spirit of self-inquiry? And what would you tell all the principals and teachers who are sitting out here as to how should they do that?
The language is only a medium of thought. No, we thought that language is a medium of communication. I said that language is a medium of thought. Because if you have to think, you need a language, no? All of you? Because without that you can't think. You believe that you need a language to think? Not necessarily. Because even before language came, people used to think. Language is a creation of the thought. Language is not the first thing that came before the thought came. So the ability to think and plan came much before the language, but language is needed for the present day thought process. No? If you have to strategize something, if you have to plan something, you think in language. No, you can imagine that either you are thinking in your mother tongue, you are thinking in English. Have you any time you looked at back of your mind and thought, in which language are you thinking? Are you thinking in your native language or are you thinking in English? In English?
So Gujarati thinking and then English speaking.
So you are translating it afterwards. Yeah. So the whole point here, I want to tell that the education has to be so that you are helped to think in your natural way.
Great.
If you are allowed to think in your natural way, the best of thoughts will come. The best way to analyze will come. Best way to strategize will come. The plan will come. And of course, any other language is an additional help. You can learn English, Hindi, or any other language additionally needed for communication purpose, to reading and assimilation purpose. It's fair. I think it's nothing wrong with that. See, you can also switch your language of thought if you really want. That has to be done by training. Suppose I can think in English. I know I can think in English. I can also think in my own native language in Malayalam. You have to choose. That you can do only when you are actually observing it. I am again telling this fact that you need to observe in which language you are actually thinking at this moment. Has anybody thought about it any time? And have you been able to switch between one language of thought to another language of thought? Or without any language can you think? Hey, you suppose you are going to paint an abstract picture. In which language you think? You think in the language of colors, no? You can think in the language of colors. Suppose you are forming a music, synthesizing a music. Will you think in language or you think in the language of music? Yeah. What is that language of music?
Correct, sir has proved it. Hence proven.
Yeah. So that means language is not an issue at all. I think you don't have to worry too much about language, in which language you are studying, in English, in Malayalam. In my schooling was in Malayalam. I never studied English, and I was so bad in communication in English. I acquired it much later. Later years, I learned how to speak in English. Now I can speak in Hindi also, because I was compelled to speak when I went to Delhi for my secretary's job. So, recent years. So, language is not very great issue. I want to tell teachers also, if you want to teach them in English, go ahead and do that. But of course, make sure that being in India, that there are so much a variety of language, and it's a beautiful thing. No, you must learn.
Correct. What you spoke about language is absolutely true, and there is no taking away from what you said. English might be the lingua franca, but language is not necessarily the modicum of thought. You don't need to necessarily think because, you don't necessarily need a language to think. And I understand what you're saying to that degree, sir. But my question is that the spirit of self-inquiry, the spirit of experimentation in school, sir, like for example, and this is a quick question, I don't know whether it's yet done, but how many of you have a choice of studying between commerce, science, and other subjects in school? And how many of you have dropped science? I dropped science, sir, in grade 8, therefore the vitamin problem. But the idea is that, sir, when you've dropped science in school, and much later on in life, when I started I.I.M.U.N in 2011, sir, at that juncture I said, India also has a lot to do with this, let me read a little bit about it. How does the school ensure that the spirit of inquiry yet continues?
No, I will tell you like this. The spirit of inquiry happens in every domain that you are talking about. It does not necessarily in science.
Sure.
See, philosophers of earlier years were not scientists alone. They were, you call it Socrates. Was he a scientist?
No.
But he had a natural inquiry associated with his thought processes. Bertrand Russell, have you ever read him? And you must read his literature. The way in which he talks about in his, it's more of inquiry nature. A literature is again an inquiry. Then you read the beautiful novels of Dostoevsky, you will understand how he inquires into the minds of the people, of the crime and the behavior of the people. I think inquiry is scientific even for people non-science also. I want to tell you that those who are learning economics, I know it is very, very scientific subject, and it is as scientific as physics and chemistry, economics.
So, sir is saying basically Russian authors like Dostoevsky or whether it be Greek philosophers like Aristotle. Yeah. The idea is that one must try to think like they think and also think about thinking.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
If this is too much for you, is it too much? Yeah, you understanding. 5 people were excited when we were talking about Rohit Sharma.
Okay.
No, but they're far smarter than me and some are actually taking down notes. At the end of this, when we get them to ask questions, you will realize as to why they are the smarter ones. But, sir.
No doubt about that. I think they are smarter than both of us.
Smarter? Right, sir. But, a tricky one. But sir, there's also a huge argument. Like some of my friends who are environmentalists and things like that, and they say, Rishabh, ये सब तो ठीक है, but space में बहुत खर्चा होता है. Right now, Elon Musk and his friends and everybody wants to send, Jeff Bezos sent some people, Katy Perry went and sang.
Yeah.
But sir, when there's so much of a cost when it comes to space. So a lot of people say that rather than focusing on looking outside and spending billions on looking what is beyond, let's look within. And there should be more budgets for solving the main problem of roti kapda makan, for example, in our country. So what are your thoughts on this?
No doubt about it. We need to spend a lot of money on solving problems of that nature.
Correct.
Problems of roti, kapda and makan, we need to definitely spend. But we must also spend on areas other than that also. See, if you think that if you will solve all the problems of this world, then you will start building roads and highways and electric cars and aircrafts and all space. I think we will never ever build. See, the nature of the world is like that. You cannot have equitable distribution of everything and happiness for everyone. After that, you will start building the comforts. See, it is an unequal world. First, you must realize that. And that's how the world works. And the second part I want to tell you that or you take the case of India. We have a huge national budget. It's something like 45 lakh crores. And we spend at least 1 lakh crore for programs like poverty alleviation programs and local employment issues handling. Manrega, for example, has an allocation of almost 1 lakh crores every year. And what is allocation for space program? It is 1/10 of that. The allocation for rural employment program, whatever gets annually, 1/10 of that is only for space program. So for a nation like us, allocating less than 1% of its national revenue for space program, is it okay or not okay? And if you say even that is also okay, let's close down the space program. There is nothing wrong with that. See, it's a question of priorities that as a nation, whether we need to take or not to take. See, we see our nation as some nation going to be a leading nation in the future.
Correct.
Are we not?
Correct.
We don't want to dwell in the primordial or primitive conditions forever.
Correct.
We would like to upgrade ourselves to the committee of leading nations in terms of technology, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of comfort of life, in terms of knowledge, in terms of health, in terms of longevity, everywhere. And we need to invest money in every such areas. We need to invest money in building infrastructure, we need to invest money in terms of defense, we need to invest money in agriculture, we need to invest money in healthcare, education. So there is a planning to happen all of there. So, of course, there are poverty, difficulties, roads are not there, toilets are not there, that also need to be solved. So it's a question of allocating priorities based on societal demand at any given point in time. Keeping the view that the nation need to reach the top at some point in time. So and after solving all of this problem, if you want to build a space program, it will never ever be built. It takes tens and tens of years to build it. So the issue is in investing in it in a moderate manner, at a low manner, so as to keep that pace going on. And when you have to accelerate, at some point, we will be able to accelerate. That's why it is important to invest in atomic energy, nuclear power plants, thermal, green hydrogen, renewable energy, environmental protection, all of this at this moment. Even though we can put a lot of money there, we are still putting some money.
No, and you said, sir, at some point it will accelerate. I want to say this, under sir's leadership when he was chairman of ISRO, we did accelerate, and we are only accelerating further. So
yes.
Thank you so much for doing what you did. And I firmly believe that you need to become a Viksit Bharat. Space is a big part of that.
No doubt, yes.
But sir, in that journey to make Bharat Viksit, boys are important, but girls are equally important, if not more important. I've, in my interactions, like earlier backstage, I was telling them a story of some 15-year-old girl who came to me and taught me many things which I didn't know. I realized that girls are far smarter than boys. Are they not? So, but sir, my question then is this, that when it comes to STEM, 43% of STEM graduates in India are women, one of the highest in the world. However, only 14% of scientists and engineers in research institutions are women. And the gap, when it increases in terms of hierarchy, the gap only increases with fewer and fewer women in leadership positions. Why is this so, sir? And
Rishabh, let me tell you that it is changing. I think first I believe that that picture that is painted if you looked 5 years back, it would have been much more bleaker. Today it is better, definitely, is it not? The opportunity available for girl students to excel, take up STEM-related tasks and jobs, go to senior level positions in management and decision-making bodies is much, much better today.
Right.
And there is a proactive action from government and institutions across the country to allow that to happen. I think this is a positive sign. Looking at that positive sign, let us also look at the difficulties. There are difficulties for women to excel in STEM domain, primarily because of various societal issues, which is a reason, which is real reason. For example, in ISRO, we make sure that there is an advantage to women compared to men intentionally given. Because they go through a period in life which includes marriage, childbirth and child rearing, and then giving attention to programs of career building, which will take the backstage. Because I have seen it with my own eyes that when a child is born, they need to take away from office, they have to take child care leave, and husbands don't take all that leave, they come to office, they do very well in office and they excel, whereas women suffer. So it's a societal issue in this country. And it is true in every country. It's not for India alone. Everywhere, women only can bear the children. A child, men can't because of the biological difficulties. So only issue is that whether we understand that and support them. So if you give the society, allow that support system, they will definitely excel. And we have seen that scientists in ISRO, they are almost 25% today, not 14% you mentioned. In ISRO, we have made sure that intentionally we support women to be recruited as well as mentored to take up senior positions. I have even directors level people with ladies have reached that position, and many are in the queue to reach that position today. And one day, Chairman ISRO also will be a lady, I am very sure about it, in a few days to come. So, it is possible for us to allow that transition to take place. And I must agree with you that women can be as good as men and not better, okay. I won't say they are better than women, men, it's a wrong way of statement, and I don't have any gender disquality, such points I don't want. Men are equally good than women, but only probability of getting the opportunity are restricted for women because of the societal issues. I think this change is happening, and I am very sure in the coming days this change will be accelerated. And we must make sure that as providers of such opportunities, we must empower that change to happen.
What I absolutely loved about what you said is that one day there will be one day there can be a chairman of ISRO who will be a woman as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the 14% that I was mentioning was overall in the field of science in India, it's 14%. But of course in ISRO, I'm glad to know that it is 25%.
Yes.
And it is only increasing. So what you're saying is that we're growing from strength to strength. One thing that you spoke about is some difficult periods that come in a person's life. Whether it's, now you gave the example of a woman, and now just generally, when it comes to difficult periods and adversity, all of us face failure in some way or the other. In my case, I was not very good at mathematics. Later on, some people are already smiling. Later on, I realized mathematics is the language of the universe.
Do you think it's a virtue of not being good at mathematics?
No, not at all. That's why I said that it is a language of the universe. Later on, I realized. I was finishing that. So then my grandfather said, if you ever want to be a CA, first study mathematics. So then I had to. I had no choice.
Yeah.
But sir, my question more so is, you must discount 99% of what I say. Only 1% is sensible. In his case, understand 99% of what he says. Just discount. But sir, my question is this, that adversity. And adversity in school was mathematics for me. Whenever I used to see a maths problem, it used to be difficult. I'll be honest. This was grade 5, 6, 7. Then slightly became better. How do you deal with adversity, considering the fact that you have dealt with adversity which is on a national scale? The world is looking at you, 1.4 billion people are looking, and then suddenly there is a problem that happens. How do you deal with adversity?
No, sure, but I must also tell you that I was also not good at mathematics. Do you believe?
No, this not
yeah,
at all.
I was. See, as a student in school, I loved biology, not mathematics. Okay, I wanted to be a doctor sometimes, because I did not like mathematics at all. But destiny took me to become an engineer. Then I had to study mathematics. There was no escape. Then I studied mathematics and made it as a part of my life. So If someone believes that you are not good at mathematics, I am here as an example. You can also be an engineer. You understand that? So it's not difficult at all. Even for those subjects you think that it is not possible for you to excel, you can. It's a question of your decision.
And hard work.
Hard work, of course, comes once you make the decision.
Correct.
So you need to decide, I need to study this, I need to master this. You will master it. And it's true for any subject or any skill that you need. It's only human capability is so enormous. I think people must realize that your ability to learn anything is tremendous. Only thing that if you are not learning or you are not skilled enough, it's only because you have decided not to. Okay. That's why if you are at some point that you are not able to do that. So I will conclude saying that if you adversary party, you said that in adverse situations always happen in life in various ways. Not knowing mathematics was an adverse situation for me, of course. But when you go to complex problem solution issues, adverse situations always crop up. So what do you do in such situations? The only solution that you have is to work with teams. I would like to tell you, this is one of the mantra which I always tell young people, students, etc. And I.I.M.U.N is an example of how you can do great things building teams.
All right, thank you.
See, something a human single person is unable to achieve, once you have 10 people around you, you can achieve.
Sir, looking at me, realize this. Saying, Rishabh, you definitely have not done.
Yeah.
It's 10 people around you who've done it. No, but it's very true. It's very true. Right.
So if you are not skilled enough, you collect some 10 people who are more skilled than you to do the things, no?
Correct. Very true. Very, very true. And that's how you deal with adversity, by getting a good, robust team and then try to empower them in order to do different
Precisely. Things. You need to empower them. I love that word, empowering. It's not holding them to do constraint, but allowing them to blossom.
Correct.
And allowing them to envision and do things in the way they want to do. And if you empower them by allowing them to take decisions to do things, I think you will see fantastic results.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I really liked is Sir said that even I was not good at mathematics. So there is hope. There is still hope. There is always hope.
Yes.
Correct. So this last part before I open it up to the audience is a small rapid fire. This is inspired by somebody from Bollywood who I watch his talk show regularly. At the end of it, he gives a hamper. Ours is a smaller hamper. Right? Do you guys know who it is? Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, great. So the first word that comes to mind when I say space exploration.
Infinity.
ISRO.
People-centric.
Your most memorable mission.
LVM-3X.
Dr. Vikram Sarabhai.
Visionary.
Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
People's president.
Prime Minister Modi.
Dedicated life.
Pandit Nehru.
Man for the time.
Spirituality.
Looking at yourself.
An I.I.M.U.N conference in outer space.
Very much possible.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Would you like to come for an I.I.M.U.N conference in outer space? Sir will be chief guest.
Yeah.
But when I say youth, sir, what's the first thought that comes?
Energy.
When I say India, that is Bharat.
Vishwaguru.
And the last one, the most important one, sir. On the basis of this, we give the hamper. When I say I.I.M.U.N, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Young people.
Young people. He looked at me and yet said young people. So that's great. That is fantastic. I will take it. One for the win. But, sir, somebody told me this before you came here. I was talking to them and they said, all of the things on the internet you know about sir, something I want to tell you about him, he's also a prolific singer. He likes singing. Is this true, sir?
The word prolific is not correct. I also sing, but that's in the closed four walls of my home.
Sir, these are closed four walls of the auditorium. Would you like sir to sing a couple of lines? Any song, 2 lines? Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot, but...
No, I'm an old generation fellow, so I always sing very old songs.
It's okay, it's okay. We sing, sir, we sing together. Kishore Kumar.
Tell some song.
मैं पल दो पल का शायर हूँ.
No, I do not know.
Okay. So it's advanced my age. Whichever song you want, sir. Whichever one you like. 2 lines of.
I love Yeshudas, so I'll sing a Hindi song by Yeshudas. It's okay?
Of course, sir. Yes.
चांद जैसे मुखड़े पे बिंदिया सितारा नहीं भूलेगा मेरी जान ये आवारा हो आवारा माना तेरी नजरों में मैं I don't remember.
Well, this is great, sir. This is great. There's a difference between real models and role models, and I'll tell you this is the difference. A scientist who can talk spirituality and at the same time sing Yeshudas and sing in front of you impromptu. We spoke about so many subjects ranging from space to spirituality, from ISRO to hard work, from adversity to opportunity. And most of it, let me tell you, were not questions that were sent to him. This was impromptu, and he answered all of them with flair, guts, and gumption. A small little difference from what we see on Instagram and what we see in real life. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And before I let you go, so there's a small token of appreciation. Like you said, this organization is built by young people. So there's a 20-year-old girl from Chittorgarh who's left her home, and 5 years ago, she joined I.I.M.U.N. She wants to hand over a small token of appreciation from our end. And